There's a thing in life that we are really, really confused about, and I feel that just perhaps many, many people do not understand it, and that's prayer. So many times in life we pray, and many of us pray on a daily basis, that for God to give us and give us many, many things. Listen, this week past, I wanted to pray for God to bring my financial portfolio back to where it was, because the stock market, as you know, dropped tremendously, and I ended up suffering tremendous losses. But they were only paper losses, right? So at the end of the day, we ask, God, give us, and then he doesn't give us anything. When the disciples came to Jesus, and in Matthew 8, the Bible tells us that, we don't need to babble on, because the reality is that God already knows what we need. So then there's a dilemma, right? Because if he knows what we need, why doesn't he give it to us? If God really knows already what we need, why even pray? See, prayer is not about demanding that God give us, because he already has given us. And then you might say, well, George, how has he given us? It might be easy for you that you live a good life, but look how I struggle. But, I remember finding myself in a time like many of us, or many of you today. I found myself that time when I forfeited every penny that I had to the government and went to a county jail. And it was horrific. The food was horrible. I didn't get to know where my kids were for 3 years, 2+ years. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. He was my entire life. And he was told that he would have less than a year. And then in reality, I might not be able to bury him. On top of that, I had no idea whether I was going to receive the 10 years that I wanted because of what I felt was right, which was violation of my parole, or I was going to be given a life sentence. I had no idea. It was a lot of, doubtness in my life. On top of that, compounded with the fact that I was an atheist. I didn't believe in God. But, when I decided that I was going to follow God, to me it was more out of the fact that I had tried everything else in the world. I had tried to find peace, joy, happiness, and money, power, possessions, jets, cars, anything that you can ever imagine that could be bought, I bought it. And I tried to find peace in that, but yet I was miserable. Then I saw this man that had very little, and he was full of joy and had a great marriage. Loved his wife of 20 some odd years, and I couldn't stand supermodels that I was going out with. So, I decided that, hey, I've tried everything else. He tells me that the only reason that he's full of joy and happiness is because he has an intimate relationship with Jesus. And I'm like, well, what's that all about? I don't have a relationship with people that I know, and I'm surrounded by a lot of people. How can I have a relationship with someone that I didn't know? But at the end of the day, it was evident, not because I just saw it. It was 3 years of being friends with my karate instructor, 3 years of admiring the joy in his heart. And it wasn't fake. He's a real guy. His wife is an amazing woman. And and they had nothing really by the world's standard about what I believe that standard should make you happy. But they were. I had everything that I believe should make me happy. I was miserable. So when I began to pray, and I just read in the Bible when the disciples came to Jesus and said, hey, Lord, teach us how to pray. And he said a simple prayer. Our Father, who is in heaven, how holy is your name. Your kingdom come that will become on earth as it is in heaven. Give me this day my daily bread. Forgive my trespasses as I forgive those who offend me. Think about that. Think how powerful. Lead me not in temptation, but deliver me from all evil. Think about how powerful that was. I was about to forgive the people that hurt me. How can that be? Truth is that until we learn how to forgive, we're in bondage, right? And it's hard to forgive, hard as hell. But there's liberation that is amazing. Because see, while we don't forgive, that person or that government has power over you. When we forgive, we take away all that power from that person or that entity. And all of a sudden, we're liberated. We're still hurt. We've still been offended. We've still been deceived. We have still been harmed. But no longer does that perpetuate, because now we're free. So then, if God knows what we need, why hasn't he given it to us? That's the question that we really need to answer. And you know what? And really, in reality, it's very, very simple. I've made it a habit to read the Bible through a whole year. So this year, I decided I was just going to read the entire Old Testament in 1 year. It gives me peace. I refresh myself. At the beginning, I began to read it just a historical book. Then, as I've told you many times, then later on, I went to read it as a book of moral. So I was just reading. I'm up to the part now where Moses went to Egypt to deliver the Israelites. And when they're in the desert and they're hungry and they're bickering and bitching at Moses because, oh my God, you deliver us from the Egyptians, but here you send us here to die of hunger. And God hears that and he gives them their daily bread. See, God told Moses to tell them that every day, 6 days, for 5 days, they are to pick up. In the morning, there will be manna. There will be bread. And then they are to just pick up and eat all they want for that day. Do not save for the next day. Because see, if they save for the next day, in reality, they were not dependent upon God to give them their daily bread, right? They were basically just say, hey, I don't trust you, so I'm going to save for tomorrow. Well, so here's where it comes. Here's where it's neat. Then suddenly, when those that were disobedient saved, in the morning, the bread was full of maggot. Ain't that something? So they learned to depend upon God for that daily bread. But then on the 6th day, they are to pick up enough for 2 days. Why? Because the 7th day, according to their customs, the Hebrews were not to work. It was a day that they were to rest. So during the morning, God gave them manna. At night, God gave them meat. So when the Jews learned how to pray, God, give us our daily bread, they knew exactly what they were asking for. Through generations come. And in reality, when we learn to pray like that, think about that for a moment. If what we're praying to God is to give us our daily bread, hasn't he done that? Isn't our daily bread the fact that we have a shelter? Even whether we own it or not, whether we're in default or not, but tonight we will sleep in a roof. That we have food in a country that it's, some children are really going to bed hungry at night. Not because God didn't give them the daily bread, but because of the selfishness of so many of us that might be obese and don't care about those that have nothing. But God's given us the daily bread. So what has God not given us that we bicker and moan about? And in reality, sometimes trust that God doesn't hear us, doesn't care for us. It's our wants. See, when we pray, we're not praying for what we need. In reality, most of the time we're praying for what we want. See? And when our wants are not met, then we get angry. That's why when you look around society today and so many people are so angry because they're not getting their way. If you don't get your way, you get angry. But if you get your way, you're happy. So today, as we look at the football, at the playoffs, one team will win, one will lose. So someone's going to get their way today, they'll be happy. Someone is not, and they're going to be unhappy. And that's life, right? They said that a Super Bowl Sunday is the most divisive day in the world because half of the world is happy, the other half is angry. But in reality, we live in a world that is extremely divisive without having no need of a Super Bowl win or defeat. So how do we find power? How do we find comfort? How do we find strength? If we pray. And it was simply because, see, prayer is not about getting from God. Prayer is not about getting our wants met. It's about us getting closer to our God, to our supreme being, to our higher power. Getting closer. Letting him know that we're dependent for our daily bread. Just so that we can get by another day. See, when I lost all that and I went into the county jail in Mobile, Alabama, and the food was horrible, and I realized I didn't have $1 to buy a Milky Way to get me through when the food was, horrific. But you know what? It was interesting because whatever little bit of the food was okay, got me through the next day. I didn't starve. I had housing. I had warmth. I had clothing. And I had no one else dependent upon me because I was in prison. So in reality, when I looked at, God gave me what I needed. So God knows what we need. He did. He does. It's our daily bread. He gives that to us. I began to find peace. No longer in the fact that I could look outside and pick out what car I wanted to drive, what $1 million car I wanted to drive, or decide whether I was just going to get on my jet and fly to Vegas, or whether I was just going to drive to my home in Fort Myers Beach and then get on my yacht. See, I didn't have to decide any of that. I didn't have any of that. What I did have was peace, joy. And somehow, this thing that came over me that gave me purpose, that I realized that none of that made any difference in my life. Sure, the human nature mind, when you go from being a multimillionaire to being dead broke, hurts a lot. Whoever tell you, oh, it's bullshit? No. Whoever tell you it doesn't mean anything, it's BS? No. It hurts a lot. But you come to realization that none of that brought you joy. And that all that is temporal, as it is our life on this earth. Very, very temporal. We're here today. We're gone tomorrow. It's no guaranteed. I just lost a dear friend that would go every year with me to Angola prison. You know, Tom would just take tremendous joy in taking gifts for the inmates, in having a concert the night before on December 11th, because on the 12th we celebrated the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And he'd have a concert with the inmate, and he always brought someone dressed like Santa Claus. So that after the Mass on the 12th, Santa Claus would give those bags that he prepared, and he drove all the way from Atlanta. What a great guy. I've taken so many people to that prison over my last 21 years. Tom is the only guy that went with me every year, faithfully. I could always count on Tom come towards October and sending me an email. Are you ready? Are you getting things ready? Have you gotten permission? And we were blessed this year that not many people were allowed to go to the prison, but we were. And we're able to celebrate Mass. And you know, it had been 2 years since the inmates had celebrated Mass because of COVID. So it was a great gift. And he was full of joy to know that he was part of that. We ended, we departed ways, we hugged, and we're like, we'll be back again next year. Well, Lord willing, I will. Tom won't. See, he called home not too long ago from the office, told his wife that he thought he was having a heart attack, drove himself to the hospital, and later on in the hospital, he died. 72 years old, full of life, great health, great joy, great man of God. Love him dearly. I'm going to miss him tremendously. Come next December 12th, he won't be there. Santa Claus won't be there. And it really, really, really is going to bring a lot of tears to my eyes. And maybe I won't even be there either. Maybe God will take me home. See, we just don't know. The only thing that we're guaranteed is today. This day that you're watching this video, we are guaranteed today. Not even an hour after you finish watching the video. Not even 5 minutes after I finish making the video. Guaranteed none of that. All I'm guaranteed is this moment in time. So do I want to waste this moment in time with anger? Do I want to waste this moment in time being selfish? Being mad at people? No. I'm not going to waste that. I'm going to enjoy this moment in time. And thank God that he gave me my daily bread. That I was able to get up today. That I was able to go to church. I was able to listen to a powerful message. And later on, I'm having friends come over that I love dearly, that are just coming to our home for the first time, and we're going to make pizza. See, God gave me my daily bread already. Everything else He's given me after that, you know, is really just extra. This past week, the market took a huge drop. My portfolio suffered tremendously. But you know what I realized? That I have a portfolio. Doesn't matter how much or how little, enough to live. So when things get tough, we just tighten up. We live more frugal. But the thing is that even if it all went away, my faith in God is strong. Because I'm alive today. I'm alive with a defect that nobody else has. You know, and He's kept me alive. Because my life depends upon God. not a medical defect, not a birth defect, not a famous surgeon, famous hospital. No, it depends upon him. So since he is in control of my life, then why should I worry? Whether I live or die tomorrow. All I need to worry about and be thankful that today he will give me my daily bread. And if I wake up tomorrow, he will give me my daily bread tomorrow. That's all I need. Yes, it's nice to have wants. It's nice to have a nicer car, a bigger house. It's nice not to have debt. They're all amazing. But what are they? What is any of those wants? What meaning do they have compared to not getting our daily bread? Not knowing that our life just is a whim. Not knowing that there's a God that loves us and cares us. Whoever that God is to you. You know, life is so short, my brothers and sisters. And I thank God that every day I live, I get to share with you what's in my heart today. You know, lately I've heard a message and it's so powerful when I pray. You know, I go to God with 3 confessions. You are God and I am not. Your plan is perfect. Mine is not. You're in control. I am not. If I believe that with all my heart, our needs are always going to be met. And many of our wants. He's a good God, just like a good father is to his children. Many of you all don't believe. Many of you all don't think that there is. I'm with you. I understand. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just trying to tell you what I've lived. Many, many years with no faith, complete atheist. And by God's grace today, I have faith. Faith that surmounts all understanding. My faith that does not depend upon the stock market. That does not depend upon whether I'm guaranteed that I'm going to live a long life or not. That does not depend upon people loving me or not. That it strictly depends upon the knowledge for me that I have a God that I serve that will give me my daily bread. So if he gives me my daily bread and he gives you your daily bread, we'll make it through another day. And then we'll have the strength, Lord willing, to serve, to give, to provide. This last 2 years has taught us many, many, many things. This pandemic has really brought a lot of things to the forefront of our life. You know, for me, one of the main things that it has brought is the knowledge that, you know what? We're very fragile. We have no guarantees in this world. None. So many people have passed that we never thought they would. But here we are, another day. And sooner or later, the curtain of our life will fall. But every choice that we make until that curtain falls will become part of the story of our life. We've made horrible decisions. I know that I did horrible things in my life. They still remain part of the story of my life. It is my life. The wrong I've done is not just going to be erased away. But those choices, that part of my life doesn't tell my entire life. It's not my entire story. Our story can change. We can start making different choices and different decisions that will give us a different ending to our life. So for me, I pray that till the day I go, whether it's now, later, 10 years from now, 100, 30, 12, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Because what matters to me is that while I am alive, I will live and make decisions to try to help others. To try to be a better husband, a better father to my children, better grandfather to my grandchildren, better husband to my amazing wife, a better friend to you. Hopefully, a better teacher to many. And by sharing my life story, my pain, my hurt, my sufferings, and my joy today will bring meaning to so many. That is my goal. That is all I ever ask God for. So when I pray, give me my daily bread, I know he's giving it to me. And I know he will give it to you. What we have to do is believe. And believe is blind. Faith is blind. Sometimes we just need to believe, even when it's so hard to believe. Be blessed.